All right, guys, let's look at how we can use Desmos to help us solve quadratic equations. So we have our example here on the left. What's the positive solution to this equation? 4x squared plus 12x equals 135. And we have to find the positive solution. Okay, so we're solving a quadratic function. I know it's quadratic because of that x squared. Okay, but remember, keep in mind that to graph, equations have to be in a certain format. They have to be either y equals or 0 equals or f of x or some form of that equals, okay, before you can use Desmos or it won't read it. So right now I'm looking, I'm like, oh no, it doesn't equal y or 0 or f of x, it equals 135. Easy solution, I can make 135 0 if I subtract it, and as long as I keep the balance, we're okay. All right, notice that on the left side here, there's no constants. So this is actually going to be 4x squared plus 12x minus 135, because there wasn't a constant, now there's negative 135. And on the right, we are now equals 0. Woohoo, that's what we want. As soon as you are there, you can use your Desmos calculator to help you out. Okay, so I'm just going to type in my equation, 4x squared plus 12x minus 135. Notice I didn't even have to put the or equals 0. It automatically does this for me. If I go and click on those x-intercepts, it gives me my coordinates of it. That's negative. It wants the positive solution. So my positive solution would be 4.5. Okay, so that's one way that you can use Desmos to help you. Okay, same thing with this one. Okay, which value of x is a solution to this equation? So we have 5x squared minus 36x plus 36. Hey, it already equals 0. So that's straight up like go into Desmos. Type in, make sure you type it correctly. Okay, and we want which one of these is a solution. So I go and I click on this. Hey, I see 1.2. So I'm thinking J, let me see that other one. 6 isn't listed, so it has to be the 1.2. So J would be my answer. Okay, right? It's nice. Let the calculator help you out with this. Okay, all right. What are the solutions to the quantity x plus 7 squared equals 81? Okay, it's not 0, but we don't care because we can make it 0. All right, so I have x plus 7 squared minus 81, because there's nothing to combine it with on the left side, equals 0 now. Woohoo! Once it's there, you know what to do. We're going to come right over here. Minus 81. There's my parabola. Notice I couldn't see both. If I just zoom in, you can zoom in, zoom out, right? You can drag it to where you need. And then we can click. Okay, so I have positive 2 and negative 16. Hey, J is my answer, right? Loving this. But you have to know how to put it in proper form, what to do with those numbers before the calculator is any use to you. Okay, what about word problems? Okay, what do we do with word problems? The area of a rectangular trampoline is 112 square feet. The length of the trampoline is 6 feet greater than the width of the trampoline. This situation can be represented by this equation, w squared plus 6w minus 112 equals 0. Okay, so there's a whole mathematical process, but they did all the hard work and they gave us the equation. I know this is quadratic because I have this squared. Remember, squared, x squared, means it's quadratic. Okay, if that's my highest power, it is quadratic. And it says, what's the width of the trampoline? So if you're like, what the heck, I don't know. What is this asking me to do? If I see the quadratic, my first thing is, well, I don't know, but let me go graph it. You have to change the variable to x. Okay, look what happens if I do w squared. I get this exclamation and it says no, and even if I do the y equals, oh, it actually worked. Okay, sometimes it doesn't. We'll go with it. All right, sometimes you have to change it to the x. So if it doesn't work, if you get that exclamation point over here and it doesn't work, change your variable to x. This one it worked, sometimes it hasn't. So hey, celebration. Okay, so it wants to know the width of this. So I'm looking, I have negative 14. That doesn't make sense with this question. I don't have a negative width, like this isn't being sucked into a black hole or something, okay? But I have this one over here, 8, that makes sense. So my width would have to be 8 feet, so it would be C, okay? So when you have that, if you're not sure what to do, graph it and then think about like, okay, what does this mean? What do I do with this? What makes sense? All right, one more, another word problem. The total number of seats in an auditorium is modeled by f of x equals 2x squared minus 6x, where x represents the number of rows of seats. How many rows are there in the auditorium if it has a total of 416 seats? Okay, so this one's a little bit different because I have an equation. So I have f of x equals this, but then it gives me this new information of 416 seats. Okay, that's my total. Remember, total is y, f of x, that represents total. So I would have 416 equals 2x squared minus 6x. Okay, okay, remember we have to equal 0 or y or f of x. Right now we equal 416, but we don't care because we can make it 0, right? So I have 0 equals 2x squared minus 6x minus 416. Now it's in the form that I need. I hop over into my calculator. You could do 0 equals 2x squared minus 6x minus 416. Notice it's giving me this error, right? Because it says this implicit equations. Take off the equals 0 and boom, there's my parabola. Okay, so we're looking again, common sense here, okay? Number of rows, I'm not gonna have negative rows, so it must be my other value, so it has to be 16. So there is my answer with D. Okay, beautiful. Use the calculator to help you. Just realize that, hey, if you put y equals, you can use a different variable. But if it doesn't work, remember, change it to x and you should be okay.